before I pass it along to my colleagues, I will just say for myself that I've just been so happy to get the chance to work with you. You are a legend in local government circles and lots of other places as well. Your contribution to the profession in general and to the town of Needham in particular just really can't be overstated. Your influence on women in government and men too has really brought a level of talent and competence to Needham that few other towns experience, and that in turn has led to a period of longevity and stability for this town that we are very lucky to have had. You have seen it all and weathered every storm, and you have set our table with a thoroughness that is thoroughly Kate. So as you prepare to go on to your next adventure, from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you for your work and your example and your time and your heart. And I'll open it up to my colleagues if anyone wants to speak.
Okay. So when I first ran for select board, everyone said like, "Oh, you'll be fine. It'll be great as long as Kate doesn't retire." And I heard that a lot, enough that
So much.
after I won the seat, I met with Kate, and I was actually very concerned. So we sat down, we talked, and the first thing I said is, "Are you going to retire?" And she looked stunned, like, "No." But it turns out everyone was right. Everything is fine when Kate's around. You do a great job. You're level-headed. Everyone in town sleeps easy at night, even on old box springs, because you're in charge. You're running the show, and it's so appreciated. Kate's extremely level-headed. She is gracious. She knows. She's forgotten more than I will ever learn about municipal government. And the other thing is she's incredibly curious. You are always looking at things, new things in new ways all the time. And it's a great example. It's a great organization because of Kate. So thank you very much. You're tremendous.
Absolutely. I'm going to go to Kathy online.
Yes. So I tried to think of one really good Kate story, and there wasn't one, because Kate, you're just so consistently great. And I just want to say, Kate, that you're a treasure. We have been so lucky to have you. And not only, I'm going to speak in third person because I think I might make Kate uncomfortable, but not only does she know everyone and everything, but Kate can find a solution to the thorniest problems. And along the way, she understands all of our quirks and works with all of us with the utmost tact and consideration. And I have always really appreciated the perspective that Kate brings to every situation. She's seen everything, but she still remains optimistic. And she loves to laugh. So what a wonderful person to work with. And I feel just so fortunate to have had this time working with Kate. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
I want to give some historical background. And this is stuff I only learned recently. So you joined as the personal director in Needham on March 5th, 1990. Those were some dark times in Needham when you joined. Financial troubles, very decentralized government structure. You came in, and 2 months later, we had a town meeting that was described by our moderator at the time as the most difficult in his experience, with budgets moving around.
June.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The minutes are really interesting to read. And here are some highlights from that year of the personnel department. These are highlights. Coordination with other municipal governments to provide low-cost training for managers in layoff situations and outplacement counseling for laid-off employees. That was a highlight. That was a really hard time. You came in and you really turned things around. I mean, I can't remember the last time we've ever had layoffs in Needham. That was the last time, exactly. And over time, the government structure changed. The personnel director moved to the select board. And then when you became town manager in that 2004, 2005 time, when we changed our charter, that was another big change. The professional staff was centralized under the town manager, and you led that. And over that time, you have hired almost every person that currently works here.
All but 7.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, good.
I can tell you who they are, too.
So over time, the town has changed with you. The town has seen so much change, and you have directed so much change in this town. And we are so grateful for that, and we are very scared of what's going to happen after, but we know we're in good hands. So thank you.
My family will tell you I hate change, so that's a high praise indeed. Thank you, Josh.
So Kate, I don't want to have this discussion. You know that. And I have said, I'm thinking back to that famous meeting that we had with Katie and Marcus, chair, vice chair meeting a few years ago. And we said something about when Kate retires. And Marcus popped up his head and said, "What do you mean when Kate retires?" And we said, "Well, in 2 years or 3 years, whatever it was at the time when Kate retires." And Marcus said, "She's going to retire?" And I said, "Yeah, she is. And I'm going to leave 2 nanoseconds afterwards." And Marcus and Katie both sat there and went, and then Marcus said, "Is this the point where Katie and I just curl up in fetal position on the floor and cry?" And Kate and I just laughed. So I can't even like really talk about this, which is why I made you cookies, because I can't really talk about this. So I did the cookie thing. We have a huge long history, and history is important. And one of the things about history that Josh didn't even get to is if you say, "I know this happened at some point," 10 seconds later, Kate has like a copy of the page to you and with her notes on it from what happened. And it's been like a picture. Here you go. This is what happened then. And knowing all that history is huge and is so helpful as we're trying to move forward. So the most important thing to know about Kate is that she has set all of us up for success going forward. And despite the fact that we are really sad that she's leaving, we are prepared and we're ready to go. So thank you, Kate.
So thank you for inviting me to speak this evening. As a member of this board for 12 years and on the Finance Committee for 3 years before that, I've had the pleasure to spend a lot of time with Kate, both personally and professionally. Kate, I thoroughly enjoyed working with you. You're a gifted manager, and your incredible work ethic, loyalty, and humility were always noticed. Your ability to make us on the board look good all the time. You genuinely care not just about the team, but about its players. I remember when I was first elected, you called me the day of the meeting, not to discuss the agenda, to make sure that I knew to wear a tie. Both to avoid my embarrassment and to respect the culture of the board at the time. Of course, I told you, don't worry, I'm coming from the Finance Committee. Your ability to respect 5 different lenses and viewpoints and make time for all of us made us a team, and you were the best teammate. You coined the name Team Needham, and as a town, we have also not been shy about using acronyms and abbreviations under your leadership. To speak in team code in other towns looking in might feel boxed out. For example, I can hear you saying, "Tonight the PPBC is meeting at the PSAB, but first I have to go to FinCom, then DRB, then the COA, before TMAC. I'll see you tomorrow at the BOH meeting at the CAF, not the RRC. And most importantly, we need to talk about the JCB and the RTS." When we look around at how Needham has thrived, it is because it has been run as a team, working together towards common goals. Your loyalty is not only to the board, but to all town employees. It is remarkable in a world where loyalty and dedication are in short order. Personally, I loved collaborating with you on town real estate deals and negotiations. In our discussions over our many $1.06 iced coffees that turned to $1.07 iced coffees after the dreaded meal tax, we would talk about everything from families, travel, and food to the latest organizational planning system that you were using at the time. We shared passions, but most of all, we shared laughs. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the time we had in China, bringing the success of Needham to Beijing and then bringing their thoughts and ideas back to Needham. Traveling is difficult. Traveling to China is even more difficult. But when you're surrounded by good people, yes, good, and bring enough genes, it makes the experience unforgettable. Now, we all know Kate loves her quotes, so I wanted to continue on the China theme with a couple of Chinese proverbs that many of you have probably heard, definitely Kate has. But they, number one, remind me of Kate's tenure, Number 2, concern trees, which in Needham, that topic just keeps on giving. And 3, it almost makes me look cultured. Almost. So the first one, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Kate, you showed us that it's never too late to seize an opportunity, even when you think it has passed you by. Like in 2017, when town meeting referred back the land purchase that we needed to help the public safety building. At the time, we thought our opportunity had run out, but with perseverance in a new round of negotiations, we regrouped, and town meeting authorized the purchase at the next town meeting. It has been critical to that site. This is just one example of so many where you have led the charge on the rebuilding of Needham and never given up. The second Chinese proverb that Kate has already probably heard is one generation plants the tree and the other one gets the shade. Kate has spent her career planning for projects for future generations, not just this generation. When you look at our athletic and recreational facilities, there are countless times when people want a project so that they or their families can enjoy it soon, only to lose interest when they find out the timeline of municipal projects. Kate, your long-term vision, planning, and focus on the future has made Needham the best town in this country. Your career is of amazing success. Even though the history that we shared was only a fraction of your career, that fraction made the whole town exponentially better. There was a pun in there that I know some people would appreciate, I think Kevin and the moderator, but time. But as you head off to the next chapter, we know you want to continue success and meaning, and your legacy here will live on as future generations get the shade. Thank you, Kate. And I didn't come here bearing gifts. I have an announcement that I know Kate will appreciate. No, I'm not running again, yet. Instead, I present to you a trust fund being established by your colleagues in your honor. Dave approved this, so I know it's a solid plan. We have all helped raise money for this fund. Please tell me you're surprised. I don't know. It's very hard to keep a secret from Kate, but I will read the fund description for those. It's called the Kate Fitzpatrick Professional Management Trust Fund. This fund will support professional development opportunities for town management level staff when the operating budget cannot support such training. Kate Fitzpatrick, Needham's first town manager, was dedicated to professional local government management, both in Needham and nationwide, and led town government prudent fiscal administration. This fund supports her legacy by providing a means to foster continual growth of professional management talent in service of Needham, even during periods of necessary fiscal restraint. We have already raised thousands of dollars for this fund, and we are looking forward to growing this fund both in the short and long term. So congratulations again to you and for this legacy fund.
Thank you, that's
Kate.
perfect. Thank you.
My name is Michael Fee, and I am the elected town moderator here in the town of Needham. Miles gave me 2 minutes to speak, which is less time than somebody from the floor of town meeting gets to speak. So I'll try to adhere to that, even though it's going to be difficult to talk about 3 decades of work with you, Kate. But I don't want to be presumptuous to the members of the board, but let me be the first to wish everyone a happy Kate Fitzpatrick Day, because it truly is a day to celebrate Kate. It is an absolute pleasure to talk about you and to wish you the ultimate happiness in your retirement. Now, as town moderator, Kate does not work for me. But I have some news for the select board as well. I don't believe Kate works for you either, no matter what the charter or the town bylaws say. I have for a very long time had the distinct impression that Kate works for the town of Needham. Kate works for the citizens of Needham. Joshua was talking about 1990, my first year on the finance committee. It was a doozy. 93 was kind of wild too. And what's fun about working with Kate all these years is that she and I can be together and actually talk about things that happened then, even though in 1990 you didn't have your current position. And I'm going to miss being one of 2 people in the room who actually remember stuff that happened and were there and present to talk about it. But over the course of those 30 some odd years, and my tenure as moderator, I have grown to just harbor the greatest respect for Kate as a public servant, as a person, as an operator and a manager. These are very, very difficult roles to fill, especially in municipal government. And Kate has distinguished herself in each one of those roles. I thought about just a few words that come to mind when I think about you and I think about your work. One is competence. Just an incredible ability to manage, an incredible ability to relate to people, to navigate difficult issues, and bring expertise to problems within our town. One of the other words that came to mind was respect. It has been enjoyable and in some ways rewarding to see that the respect that you have for our institutions of government here in the town. And I don't mean that in a capital I, like, town meeting or the executive branch or other boards. I mean at every level in our town. Our town has a way of doing things. We're not afraid of change. We've changed over the years. But you have always, and if you don't mind me using the first person with you, you have always had great respect for our institutions in a role that could be occupied by an egomaniac or someone power hungry or dismissive of checks and balances or dismissive of our structure of town government, which we all know is not the most efficient in the world, but it's not efficient for a reason. What we saw tonight, the public input, the listening. You have always embodied that respect, and I have noticed it, and I am deeply grateful for you having done that. Now, I know Miles has me on the clock, so I'll try to accelerate. But the other thought that came to mind in thinking about you was loyalty. I don't know how many people here, I know all probably of you have seen the Mass Municipal Association newsletter that comes out. And the job openings in the Mass Municipal Association newsletter, and the job openings for town administrators or town managers. They're plentiful. It's a role that people in Needham may not realize in other towns turns over frequently. And that may happen for a lot of different reasons. But this is not a position that traditionally, in my anecdotal research, has been occupied by the same person for decades and decades and decades. And that was not only due to your superior performance, but it was also due, I believe, to the loyalty and fondness you have for this town. You were not distracted or attracted away by the next shiny thing or a bigger opportunity at a bigger town with a larger population or a larger tax base. Instead, you saw Needham as a work in progress at all times. And I think you worked to improve it every day. And that's to be recognized because too often tenures are ephemeral and we can't remember who was in the position. What mark did they make? Well, as you heard tonight, and I'm sure you'll hear again, that's not going to be a question unanswered when it comes to you. And finally, I just wanted to say that you have always been, I think, as a public servant, responsive. You have been attentive, and you've had a long view, which we don't often see in a day when attention spans are short, memories are short, media cycles, to the extent they exist, are short. But you have always been responsive, focused, attentive, and looking to the future. And we heard some of that earlier tonight as well. So from the position of the town moderator, I will say thank you for your service. I will say that I personally will miss you. I know town meeting will miss you. We're confident, as has been said, that you've laid a foundation for a successor. And I hope you get to enjoy yourself and do whatever you want, whether it's going back to Dollywood or any of these places that you've traveled. Maybe go over to England again or China with Matt, which would be fun. But don't be a stranger. Come by, visit us at town meeting, and I'm sure you'll get a raucous response. So thank you.
As many of you know, I got my start as an elected official right here in this building in town meeting. And so that is when I first came to know you. And as I've grown in this role, my current role as the state senator, I've been fortunate to work with many talented and dedicated public servants. And I can say with the utmost level of confidence that Kate Fitzpatrick is exemplary. She has brought so much knowledge and wisdom to her role as our town manager here in Needham. When Kate is involved, I never worry because it's always done right every single time. Kate's ability to bring people together is one of the, I think, most formidable reasons that she's so effective. Everybody knows she just gets it done. She has an incredible reputation, and it's well-earned and well-deserved. We all know that local politics is an ongoing dance of actively listening, of finding common ground, and leading friends and colleagues through changes. That takes a positive attitude and optimism. And that's what Kate brings. She shows us every day that there are many ways to lead. Like in 2017, when she co-founded the Massachusetts Women Leading Government with several other municipal administrators, a group that includes women in every level of local government, building confidence and skills, opening doors and extending ladders, a true hallmark of Kate's service. She guided Needham through COVID with skill and with sensitivity. They were scary and unprecedented times. People found it hard to trust. And Kate's leadership was invaluable. And also experience was invaluable, especially for me as the chair at that point of the State Committee on Municipalities and Regional Government. I don't remember how many times I called Kate, but it was a lot. She consistently strives to be the best town manager that she can be, constantly learning, traveling not only to other towns, but as we already heard tonight, even other countries, to compile best practices and bring those best practices back to us. Kate, this town is stronger for your service. We are stronger, better because of your service. We will certainly miss your institutional knowledge and this amazing way that you can confidently interpret the intent of a document because probably you wrote it. But most importantly, we will miss your caring heart, your sense of humor, and your unwavering commitment to excellence. So it is my pleasure we're working on, the Senate is only in session on Mondays and Thursdays, and today is a Tuesday, which makes the schedule a little challenging. So tonight I have brought with me an official citation from the Massachusetts Senate, which I will read in a second, and soon, after Thursday, when we are back in session, we will be able to adopt an official resolution in your honor, which becomes an official part of the records of the Massachusetts Senate. So at some point, I will make sure to get that to you as well. But here is the citation for this evening. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Kate Fitzpatrick in recognition of your exemplary 35 years of service and dedication to the town of Needham. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to, and a copy thereof transmitted by the clerk, although in this case it's transmitted by me, but in any case, it is indeed signed by our Senate President, Karen Spilka, our clerk, and me as the town's state senator, dated today, June 24th. Congratulations on your well-deserved retirement.
Thanks, Madam Chair, members of the board. Kate, I have something coming to you Thursday. It is a resolution, so it's not that I came empty-handed, okay? Even though I did come empty-handed. So I haven't known you as long as just about anyone in this room, and I'm not going to pretend to. So, but one thing I've become accustomed to in my new role, especially with the increased access that I have to leaders in the town and regionally, is evidence of your footprint being just about everywhere. People that I meet both here and regionally have heard of you, and they look to you for guidance, advice, and exemplary performance. I don't have personal stories. I just hear anecdotally all these things. And as someone who just appreciates people who live a life that's well lived and dedicated to public service, I appreciate what you've done. So I'll keep this short and sweet. I hope you enjoy retirement, and I hope we can stay in touch. So thanks for all that you do.
All right, and so I'm going to go now to Kathy for the reading of our proclamation. Established.
Town of Needham, Kate Fitzpatrick Day Proclamation. Whereas Kate Fitzpatrick entered service with the town of Needham on March 5th, 1990 as Personnel Director, following 5 years with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And whereas Kate immediately established herself as a leader, expanding Needham's human resources capabilities and building the foundation that the town's staff culture stands on today. And whereas Kate was appointed Assistant Town Administrator in 1998 and subsequently Town Administrator in 2001, during which time she laid the groundwork for the passage of the Community Preservation Act and Town Manager Act. And whereas Kate was selected as Needham's first town manager in 2005, leading the town with disciplined stewardship and strategic vision, successfully shepherding a generation of capital facility projects to include the Public Safety Headquarters, Emery Grover renovation, Public Services Administration building, and Town Hall restoration, preserving heritage and enhancing service delivery for all residents. And whereas Kate advanced the local government management profession, mentoring emerging leaders, advocating for ethical excellence, and elevating women in municipal administration across the Commonwealth and the United States. Now, therefore, be it resolved that June 26, 2025, be declared Kate Fitzpatrick Day in the town of Needham in honor of Needham's first town manager for a career of selfless service on behalf of Needham and its residents. Signed this 24th day of June, 2025.
Okay, so I get to say a few words. As you know, my farewell address will be Thursday at the other event that we have. So I tried to focus tonight on really sort of the work of the town and Thursday on the community. But I wanted to point out that one of my favorite books of all time, and Molly's, my daughter, and my grandson Teddy. And I love Mike Mulligan, and I love to read it to kids because it has selectmen and a town hall. And my kids used to, the classic line, they built the new town hall right over Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, and that's where they stayed for the rest of their lives. And Molly and Colleen would say, "Are they going to build the town hall over you, Mom?" I guess I'll be in the basement, powering the town hall. With Mary Ann, right. So when I look back, I think just so much of it and so many wonderful things that people had to say really involve building, right? So we did a lot of building of things, and we did a lot of building of team, and we did a lot of building of relationships and of community. Building is creating or developing something over a period of time, and I think that's really what we've done. The infrastructure is something that I'm the most proud of. For the schools, we had a major renovation at the Newman. We built the Sunita Williams. We bought a farm to put the Sunita Williams on. And then we needed one more house. And Matt and I called the owner and we said, "How about this amount?" And they said, "Sounds fair." Probably the best negotiation ever. We renovated the High Rock. I'm not going to take credit for Broadmeadow and Elliott because they were started before me. And I think probably every year since I started, we've done something at the high school. New municipal facilities. We built new municipal facilities where nobody else is doing that. We built PSAB, which is our Public Services Administration building, to pull Public Works out of the 470 building, which other employees are still working in, but that's your next endeavor. So that was a brand new building. We built the center at the Heights, which many people in this room were involved in, trying to find a location for a senior center for years, a brand new facility. The Memorial Park Fieldhouse, there had been something there, but nothing like what we have now, which is an amazing building. The Cogswell Building, also known as JCB. And we finally pulled the pool out of the lake and built the Rosemary Recreation Complex, but it's way more than just a bathhouse, which it was before. It's town offices. So that's just really, it's really astounding because if you look at all of those, PSAB opened in 2010 and everything else was after. So that's been a, kind of a real run on building. Probably one of the things I'm the most proud of is Fire Station 2 in the Public Safety Building. They were always out on the list. They were always at the end of the master plan. They were always, frankly, behind a school. And the fire chief took me on a tour of Station 2, and I came back and I said, okay, we're going to get this done, because Station 2 was, as it had to come completely down. I'm very proud of that. And while Station 2 was under renovation, we had a temporary fire station at the Hillside School, which is something I think people couldn't imagine. And, rebuilding the old, probably something that I'm most excited about. We rebuilt this building, we rebuilt Emery Grover, and we rebuilt the library. And if you've ever been to the old post office building in Washington, which was a hotel at one point and is not now, Nancy Hanks is quoted by saying, "Old buildings are like old friends. They reassure people in times of rapid change. They encourage people to dream about their cities, to think before they build, to consider alternatives before they tear down." And I think that's a real metaphor for Needham. I mean, we really want to keep what we have because it brings us comfort, but we can make it better. Some other amenities, the Amity Path, which came up earlier today, the rail trail, the common, major infrastructure. I don't even know if people are left to remember Adelane, but it was a big deal for a long time that we were working on. The Highland Ave, Needham Street Bridge. Do you remember when we closed the Central Ave, Elliott Street Bridge? Is Mo still here? That was a really big one. And we also built financial sustainability. I joke that my biggest contribution to the town is funding our OPEB, but I kind of mean it. We're at 57% funding, which is probably in the top 5 in the Commonwealth. The last 15, 17 budgets without a recourse for an operating override is something that many people touched on, is that in times that are good, we're steady, and in times we're bad, we're able to be steady because we were cautious when times were good. And that's just really a good way to live. Bringing in the tax increment financing, the TripAdvisor and NBC Universal were something that was just really a lot of world headquarters. We're the only suburban town around with 2 television stations and a major network. And Dave being able to parlay that into full-day kindergarten with no override. It's just an amazing thing. And as we talked about last month, when S&P says that your credit rating is stable and you're jumping up and down, that's us. With respect to building a team, I rewrote 5 times what names I was going to mention. It's so hard, but I will say our senior leadership team right now, which seems safe: Dave, Katie, Dan Gudikantz, Tom Comrie, John Schlittler, Karis, and Tim. We've been together a long time. They're so dedicated to this town. The OTM staff: Miles, Louise, and Carol, and most recently Kristen, Emily, Nikki, and Sandy. They really were they were just there for you. And all the department managers, many of whom are here, which is so wonderful. And the rest of the town staff, almost 400 of them. And as I noted, I hired all but 7. 3 firefighters, 3 DPW employees, and 1 librarian. Thank you for the data, Dave. I miss our friend Tony, who died in service and would absolutely be here. Would he not, Tom? I estimate approximately 800 select board meetings since I took this job. Maybe. That's a lot. 23 select board members, 17 since I was in this role. I really want to thank those who took a chance on me in 2001, 2.5 weeks before 9/11, when I took this job, and then again in 2005, and this board today. Every board has a different character, and I've truly enjoyed working with all of you. We joke here that when I say something will continue, that there's town manager really is a sample size of 1. if you count the town administrator role, it's a sample size of 2, which isn't much better from a predictive standpoint. But as we say, the systems that we create leave grooves in an organization, and I think that you will be very well served by the next leadership, because new ideas will come forward and unnecessary things will fall off. And because we are so steady, I think there won't be a whole lot of change. And I just am so grateful to have been Needham's town manager. I don't know who I am if I'm not the town manager, but I'm going to go find out. So, thank you.